Richard Spencer was subjected to a campaign of abuse by his wife Cherie for 20 years. She was jailed last year in what the judge described as the worst case of controlling and coercive behaviour they had ever seen.
We're going to speak to Richard in a moment, but the crimes only came to light after one of his friends saw nanny cam videos of the abuse and sent it to the police. That footage is now being shown for the first time in a Channel 5 documentary. Just have a look.
He also likes his shirt, does Richard. He likes being smart, but as he was telling us, he would know when he was going to be subjected to abuse, so he would change his clothes to a popper shirt.
If I think she's going to be violent, then it's quite often I'll change into my shirt popper shirt, because then I know if she's violent towards me, then it's unlikely to be raped. He'll probably just pull the popper stuff off.
I'm sorry, Richard, that's just completely flawed me.
I'm sorry.
That behaviour. When do you think that behaviour came? Eh? The problem is in your marriage is because of you.
I know this is incredibly difficult to watch. Richard joins us now alongside Mark Brooks from the charity Mankind Initiative, who support men who have experienced domestic abuse. Morning to both of you.
Morning.
Richard, thank you so much for talking to us about this, because it is not a subject that is talked about particularly often. If you could just start from the beginning. We've seen those images, they're such distressing footage. When did you realise things were going so badly wrong? What happened?
It's a difficult question because it happened over such a long period of time. So, things were really incremental. So at the beginning, it would just be like maybe pushing and shoving or slapping. And those kind of things were quite normalised almost on TV. If you were to watch a soap opera, it'd be quite often if a man's had an affair or something, you'd see like the wife hitting him or, the wife like slapping him or pushing or something. And it was never, there was no mention of domestic abuse or anything wrong with that. It was almost perceived to be normal for ladies to be, to hit men. So I think because it was sporadic and in the beginning and minimal, didn't raise any warning signs at that time. And obviously over time, things got worse. There's like there's a domestic abuse cycle where there's like a tension phase and things are building up and something's going to happen, and then there'll be an incident, then there'll be like a reconciliation where the person will apologise and she would write notes and tell me how much she loves me and say it would never happen again and give reasons why those things would happen.
And how long, you talk about that tension phase, how long would that go on for? And when you were in that phase, would you then always know that something was looming?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, the tension phase, it was very short. I didn't, there would be hardly any tension, then just be an incident. But towards the end of the 20 years, the tension phase could last for days. I'd know that something was going to happen. And then, there was no reconciliation, and towards the end there'd be no apology. And it would go straight to kind of a period of calm. But that calm period, it could last for, months and months and nothing would happen. And I'd think, everything's going to be OK again. And she's changed, but, yeah, she never did change.
How bad did it get?
Yeah, it got... I mean, just before she was arrested, she would just get up in the morning and start drinking wine, and then she'd be asleep on the sofa for a few hours, then get up and, drink some more wine, and then, then there'd be incidents of abuse. Towards the end, I was pretty much given up, so I felt completely trapped at the end because I knew she wasn't going to change. But then, there were... Because she'd done things like she'd threatened that she would tell the police that I was the abuser, and sometimes when I'd restrained her to stop her from hurting me, she'd have like marks on her wrist, and she'd claim that she'd sent pictures to her friends or to her neighbours and tell them that I would, that I was the abuser. Then during an incident, she'd like open a window and she'd shout out of the window, "Stop it, Richard, you're hurting me." And then in my mind, I didn't know if people did think that it was me that was the abuser. And financially, I didn't have any... I got into a lot of living beyond our means, she knew that, and I was getting deeper into debt. The other thing is I could never leave, really, because I didn't want to...
These are some of your injuries. Sorry to interrupt, that we're seeing in the pictures.
Yeah, that was a particular bad period, just around lockdown, and yeah, that was those injuries with a wine bottle.
Your wife has been jailed, she's been convicted, and we talked about the fact that it was some of the video footage from the nanny cam in the house that was part of the evidence that's in this documentary. When you see that footage now, you see it on screen, I mean, is it like you're looking at another world, another life, another person?
It is really. I don't really recognise the person. I know it's me. All my memories from that period are detached. It's like I'm an observer. It's like I'm watching a film or something. I know that it's me that's in the film. I know I'm, you know, the victim. But you know, some of the decisions I made now, like I can talk about all the reasons why I stayed in the relationship for such a long period of time. Talk about, you know, the phases of narcissism and the phases of abuse, and give reasons. And if we spoke for about half an hour, I think you'd have maybe a 50% better understanding of why someone would stay. But I can't answer some of those questions myself. But, you know, I look back and I don't know why I made some of the decisions I made, and I just accept that, you know, it wasn't... I'm obviously physically bigger and stronger than her. There's nothing physically stopping me from leaving. And, you know, from a logical and sort of intelligence perspective, I recognise that things weren't right. So I can only... It's like I can only come down to an emotional reason why I didn't leave, thinking that I could try and fix her, and at some point, you know, she would get better and she would stop. But obviously, she never did.
Mark, we know, don't we, from experience, that most domestic violence is male on female. How unusual is this situation, and then how much more difficult does it make it to talk about it?
Well, 1 in 7 men will be a victim of domestic abuse in their lifetime, and the government figures show that actually 1 in 3 of all victims are actually men. But one of the challenges is that often society doesn't recognise men are and can be victims, and also there's not always enough publicity about it, which is why it's so great that what Richard has done is really shine a light on the subject, but also importantly encourage men to reach out to trusted friends and family, to charities and organisations that will help them, and also contact the police as well. And the key thing is that there's men going through what Richard's gone through every single day, but there's also lots and lots of men escaping from these relationships every single day. So Richard did, and so can any man or woman, of course.
What sort of support is out there? How readily available is it?
There's national helplines for men, but also every local council has a domestic abuse service, and that service is available for men. And also the police do take men seriously if they do come forward. The other point is we really do ask trusted friends and family and neighbours to look out for men who they think could be in an abusive relationship, and please do reach out to them.
Richard, I'm curious to know if someone is watching this now who is frightened in an abusive relationship, in a situation that they feel they maybe can't break free from. What would you say to them, and what is the thing that shifted everything for you?
I think probably just to tell someone, no matter who it is, just to talk to someone about it. Because the moment I opened up and told one of my neighbours, that started a chain of events which led to another friend contacting the authorities. So I think, yeah, just to open up and to tell someone, anyone, whoever it might be. And I know you'll probably have a lot of guilt around losing contact with friends and family and things, but they will support you. So, yeah, just to open up to someone.
Obviously, that nanny cam was that you didn't install that for your own protection. I'm assuming that was there anyway.
That was there anyway,
yeah.
And the reason I started the recording was because when we had our first daughter, one evening, she said that during an argument she was quite angry about something, and she said that she could smash her face in the mirror and then cut herself, and then she said that I'll tell the police that you did it. And then she said, once I've done that, I'll get a restraining order against you, so you won't be able to see the children, and your family won't be able to see the children. So when she did that, I thought, well, I'm not. You know, I knew that I was the victim, not the abuser. So I thought, well, I'll get my own evidence to act as an insurance policy if she was to ever do that. Never intended. I never thought I'd have to use the evidence I had. But you know, obviously, it didn't bear thinking about what might have happened if I didn't have the have the evidence.
What, you think if you hadn't had that footage, maybe it would have been more difficult to...
I think so, because she's a really good liar. You know, she's told lots of lies and people believed her. A lot of the things that she said, going through the family court, was like one of the most horrific experiences that I've had in the family court. She made 42 false allegations about trying to make out that I was the abuser. So something called DAVO, which is the deny attack reverse victim offender. In the family court, she made out that it was me that was the abuser, and I had to take time off work and with stress, because all these false allegations that I felt like I was the one on trial in the family court, and I had to prove that the things that she was saying about me weren't true.
And how is life today?
Our life's really great now. So the main thing is the children. The children are really happier than they've ever been. Really confident. It was the school opened last week with a parents' evening, and the feedback is, I guess a lot of parents, when they go to parents' evening, are concerned about academic things, how they're doing in maths and English, but I'm more concerned about, you know, the emotional side of things, and they're all really happy and really confident. So that's the main thing. And I've met, you know, a new partner, and she's completely the opposite of Cherie in every way. So things are really good for the family.
OK, it's good to see you smile.
Thank
you so much both for coming in this morning. I know you said that it was hard to get even a snapshot of the issue and the reality in a short conversation, but I think you've really helped us understand this morning. So thank you very much indeed. And that documentary, it's called My Wife, My Abuser, The Secret Footage.